So I'm going to present just some background about the Inward Bound Mindfulness Education, the organization, and then give a good overview and some of the details about the teen retreats and what happens on each retreat. And through this presentation, you'll also get a sense of the different locations where we run retreats and some of the images of the different retreat centers. So this here, what you can see is our Colorado teen retreat, which is in Cresto in the kind of central Colorado. This is the meditation hall, which is quite a beautiful space. And as I said, I'm Jessica Moore. I'm the executive director, and I'm also a lead teacher for many of our teen retreats across the country. So I want to begin with how we define mindfulness, what that means. And so we have built off of the common definition that Jon Kabat-Zinn developed around that mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment. And then there's this emphasis on curiosity and kindness in the way that we pay attention. And just that's to things exactly as they are. Then some other ways that we describe mindfulness when we're on retreat. And this is actually a picture from our wilderness retreat in the Northern Sierras. We talk about befriending ourselves, not believing everything we think, being at home in our experience. There can be some question about why to go on a retreat, and I like this metaphor of every day, a kind of daily mindfulness practice or meditation practice is like washing your face or doing some basic daily hygiene, but taking a retreat is getting to fully soak in the practice, like taking this immersive bath. And so it's a wonderful way to deepen practice, once a year or occasionally. And this is the history of our teen retreats. I actually went on my first meditation retreat when I was 14, and that was back in 1993. It was one of the first meditation retreats for teens at the Insight Meditation Society in Massachusetts, which started in the late 80s. And then some of the mentors and teachers from that retreat brought them to California and did a retreat in connection with Spirit Rock in the early 2000s. And then they came to Virginia and started and led retreats in the Virginia area. And that's actually when I got back involved. I was living and working in DC. And so was invited to come down and volunteer and got back involved in the teen retreats in 2007. And at that time we were running our retreats under different nonprofits. And so in 2010, we decided we should make an organization which we could really run the retreats and share them more widely. We're getting a lot of requests from people around the country. So at that time in 2010, we had 2 retreats a year. And in 2017, this year, I think we have 10 teen and young adult retreats around the country. And we also offer college retreats, and we're doing a few more adult and parent retreats this year. And so here is just a sense of where the map of where we're currently doing retreats this summer. And as you can see, Meg, we don't have many offered right now in the middle of the country. So that is an area of focus for us. We've done 1 retreat in Michigan in the past. So we'd love to do more retreats in the Midwest and the middle of the country. So this is our full calendar. And then here's an overview of what we do on the retreats. Each day there's periods of silence and talking that the teens move in and out of. We have 2 hours of small group each day, and the small groups are set up by age. So they're in the same small group, the same facilitators for the whole week, twice a day. And then we do yoga or qigong, some kind of mindful movement twice a day. Every evening there's a loving kindness practice or a compassion practice. And then in the afternoons, there's workshops the teens can choose from that include poetry writing, art, discussions, hikes, mindful sports, and the teens get to choose from a number of different activities that they want to do. We have a big focus on having a big diversity of youth on our retreats, and also in our teachers and staff. And then we have a huge focus on fun, which is especially important for young people. And so this gives you a sense of the schedule of a day. We wake up at 7:30. And so what you can see in black is the silent periods, or theoretically silent periods. We really support and encourage the teens to keep those times in silence, more of an internal practice period. And doing the wake up in silence, the bedtime in silence, breakfast allows them to bring mindfulness into those kinds of everyday activities. So mindfulness into eating meditation and brushing your teeth meditation, all these kinds of things. And so the biggest practice period is that 9:45 to noon. It's about a 2 hour, 15-minute practice period every morning and we alternate sitting and walking and Q&A and sometimes some interactive relational mindfulness. The afternoons is the yoga. We have the yoga and workshops, and then evening is a sit, and then you'll see this wisdom talk where the teachers will offer the kind of basic outline is kind of why meditate. Why are we doing this? How's this practice beneficial in our lives? We try to offer those teachings and instructions in a way that's really engaging. So it's very interactive for the young people, like lots of Q&A and just responding to kind of the questions and themes that are coming up on the retreats and the small groups and in other parts of the day. And then we ask the teens to go back into silence after the last sit as they go to bed. And then here's some more. So all of these are photos from our retreats around the country. The last night of teen retreat, we always have a big community share, and then which often turns into a dance party. This is one of our New Year's teen retreats. And then a big focus for us is the role of the teachers and staff as mentors, as mindful mentors. So these are all of some of the different mentors on our retreats around the country. When we talk about the qualities of a mentor, the primary role that we feel we have is to create authentic and caring relationships with young people and to express and cultivate a unconditional positive regard for them. So the attitude is one of deep respect of their uniqueness, their goodness, and then what we're doing, how we're working with youth is offering them tools to develop their own self-awareness and give them more choice about how they want to live their lives and help them move out of reactivity. So not coming in with a sense of how they should be or ways that they need to change or be different, but giving them more tools for them to choose. Yet at the same time, we do keep consistent and kind boundaries. And so on the retreats, we do have the 5 mindfulness trainings, which include being celibate while on retreat, so not engaging in romantic relationships, and then being drug and alcohol free while on the retreats, and kind speech, non-harming in general. And then also we ask the teens give up their cell phones when they arrive on the retreat. So it's a technology-free space. So those are the kinds of boundaries that we keep with them, and we are very firm about that. But we try to hold those with a lot of respect. So at lunch, the teachers meet every lunch, and then in every dinner, the staff team has dinner together, and we check in about how the teens are doing, if anyone needs particular support or attention, and the flow of the instruction, anything that needs to shift. So here's an overview of the learning objectives that we're focusing on. And so the first piece really being a greater sense of self-awareness, leading to self-understanding, self-acceptance, and then really self-love would be the big piece that we hope young people will come away with, a sense of self-compassion and self-love. And we do consistently hear young people expressing that that's what they learn from the retreats. And then at the same time, we are, through the meditation practice, through developing attention, focusing on breath, the young people are learning concentration and focus. They're learning how to calm their minds and bodies, learning how to deeply connect with their own bodies and understand through that connection with the body, what am I feeling? What are my emotions? What's happening right now? And then also exploring thought, kind of what is the nature of thought? Do I control my thoughts? Where do they come from? Do I have to believe my thoughts? And we do different meditations to explore each of these areas, as well as compassion. And then the final piece is around developing empathy, especially with their peers. And that is particularly developed through the small group work that we do. And so here's a kind of example when we talk about emotions, is just really learning how do we feel and experience emotions in our body. So one, we can start to understand more how we're feeling in a particular moment and understand how that affects our reactivity, our reactions to situations, but also because it can be easier to be with, to work with, and allow emotions when we direct our attention in our body rather than spinning out in a thought process around different emotions. And then we do these, we'll talk a lot about thought and how we're relating to thought. So what's important for every new meditator, there often is this mistaken belief that you're supposed to make your thoughts go away. We're not supposed to think, but we're really clear that that's basically impossible. So what we're working towards is, what is our relationship to our thoughts? Can we, instead of being totally caught and running away with our thoughts, can we sit kind of on the side of the traffic and let it go by without reacting? And then, as I mentioned, we do a lot of interactive discussion, communication activities for deep listening and deep communication. And that especially happens in the small groups. So we refer to this as relational mindfulness. And so part of that is, mindfulness is not just an internal experience as, okay, what's happening for me, but then also what's happening for the other humans and other beings who are around me. So we have these 2 hours of small groups every day and do different kinds of activities. Ones we do check-ins, we do things like lightning rounds, which are kind of quick questions that the staff or the teens can ask. And then as the teens feel comfortable and want to, there's the opportunity for them to share more deeply what's happening in their lives. So there's the prompt of, if you really knew me, you would know. And then we often do, if the teens want to, an activity called the hot seat, where one person can offer to be on the hot seat, and that's like, they kind of become the center of the group meditation. So everyone puts their attention on them, that kind, curious attention. And then they can share a few things about themselves, and then people ask them questions about their lives. And then we finish that with a round of appreciation. What's something that we appreciated about that person and what they shared. And here's one of our opening activities called the shoe game, which we often do on the first night as a way for people to get to know each other right away. So these are some of the anecdotal feedbacks, like what the teens or parents will write to us post-retreat. And this piece of feedback around this sense of belonging, as the first time in my life I felt accepted, a sense of belonging. That's often an experience that the young people will have that comes out of the sense of learning how to belong in their own hearts and minds, but that also in these small groups where they're hearing what's happening in other young people's lives, receiving an empathetic connection, appreciation, sense of, oh, okay, I'm not alone. Like this kind of emotional experience is a human condition, which for some young people is a really new experience, to hear that they're not the only people feeling or thinking some of the things they're feeling or thinking. And again, these are all pictures from our different retreats around the country. And then I wanted to finish with, we have actually for the past 5 years been partnering with a researcher who's now at UPitt named Dr. Brian Gala. And so in 2013, he did this research on, it was 132 teens participated from retreats around the country. And he did, it was self-report questionnaires of the teens pre-post and then 3-month post-retreat. And he was looking at these different psychological measures, mental health, as well as mindfulness and compassion practice, and then looking at how much they meditated post-retreat. And so this research was actually just published in the fall, and it's on our website if that's an area of interest for you. And it was in the Journal of Adolescence. And so here you can see we're really extremely happy about the results. I'm not a statistician, but Brian Gala was extremely surprised and impressed by the significance of the shifts that he saw in the data. So you can see on these, the blue is pre-retreat, the red is just post, so right at the end of the retreat before they left. And then the green is 3 months post-retreat. So what was kind of most impressive here is that these skills continue to improve. Non-reactivity, mindful attention, and self-compassion, even 3 months after the retreat. And also perceived stress continued to go down, rumination went down. And then you'll see there's a few interesting ones here. So depression had a drop and then started to come back up. The 3 month, it was still below baseline, but started to come back up. And this was similar for some of these, the negative mood, positive mood, and life satisfaction. So there was a big improvement right post-retreat, and then 3 months it was still improved beyond baseline, but was starting to kind of creep back to baseline. And Dr. Gallo was suggesting that the first ones are kind of, these are more kind of skills-based, reactivity and self-compassion, whereas, and rumination, whereas he hypothesizes that depression and the mood ones are more, since they're mood, it's less skill-based and more kind of momentary-based. So, which is why it might be more variable. But nonetheless, it was still impressive to see that these even 3 months past the retreat lasted. And so we did in 2016, this past summer, we actually did a follow-up research to that, which included, it was a waitlist control trial that included questionnaires for parents and then some behavioral measures that the teens did online. It was like a focus problem they had to do. And that research Brian is finalizing it and putting it under peer review. So that will be published soon. He's also really happy about that. And so, let's see, I guess I don't have it on here, but one of the conclusions that he came to from both of these that we thought was really interesting was that the biggest shifts were correlated with changes in self-compassion for the young people. So it was much more correlated with their increase in self-compassion than with their increase in mindfulness. And then also for the 3 month post, he was asking them how much they meditated, and he asked how much they did basic mindfulness, like breath awareness, versus how much they were doing that loving kindness or compassion practice. And again, he found that the teens who did more compassion or loving kindness practice, the impacts, the benefits lasted longer or were more strongly correlated with that. So that's been interesting for us and helped us to kind of, we've had an anecdotal sense that was a big part of the impact of the retreats, but it's really helped us to see that data. And so we definitely emphasize that kindness to self while we're on the retreats. So these are some of the other things we do. We have the backpacking retreats. There's a few pictures with that. We're starting to do more college retreats around the country in partnership. So a college will hire us to come in and do a retreat for a group of students. We have some parent retreats. So we have one backpacking retreat in April in California. And then we have, which is full with a wait list, and it's coming right up. But then we also will have a retreat at the Garrison Institute it's specifically for parents. And that is in October. And then we're inaugurating our year-long teacher training that will start in June of this year for people who are interested in teaching mindfulness to adolescents in an immersive environment. We also have every Tuesday night, if your young person wants to check it out, it's a drop-in sit and share. So it's free for, primarily it's alumni from our retreats, but anyone is welcome to come and sit. We do a short guided, about 20-30 minute guided sit, and then some discussion, and it's an hour long. And then we have different local and regional programs throughout the year, and those are on the website. Here's one of our final pictures of our California retreat. So I will stop that there and just see if you have any questions about the program.
I just have it. I've got a 10 and a 12-year-old. And so just looking at the pictures, it looked kind of like the crowd of young adults kind of skewed older than that. Can you kind of give me a sense of like, what is the age range that kids are engaging in it?
Yeah, so our age range is 15 to 19.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we will sometimes have 14-year-olds on the retreat if they're really interested in kind of demonstrate a level of maturity. But yeah, 15 is our normal starting age. So a few more years for your kids.
A few more years, yeah.
Yeah. We've just found, I mean, it is a pretty intensive retreat program. So they're meditating about 4 to 5 hours a day. So that what we're looking for is once teens have finished ninth grade, it seems to be a big developmental shift.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, it sounds like you're trying to put something together in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Basically, our policy is we have no teen turned away for lack of funds. So you sign up. It's based the fee is based on family income.
Okay.
So that means every retreat is a big scholarship commitment for us. So we will only do new retreats if we have a commitment from a funder to cover scholarships. So that's what I'm working on right now.
I've got another one.
Yeah.
This is kind of more logistical, and it's just kind of looking in. My 12-year-old has a severe peanut allergy, and she's got asthma and other allergies. Are you able to accommodate kids with special needs?
Yeah, I mean, in most locations, and definitely peanut allergies, we can. Okay. So the way that it works is that we rent camps or retreat centers in each location. So there's a little bit of a dependency on those centers, but everywhere we've worked today, they've been able to manage peanut allergies and different, depending on the disability, but many of the disabilities we're able to work with.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The people that are guiding these retreats, I mean, like typically, what is the background of the people that are guiding the retreat?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the structure of the staffing, that's the way that it works is we have 3 teachers on each retreat. And then those teachers are people who have a significant amount of personal meditation practice and training. So most often over a decade of personal retreat practice and training. So they're often, just because of the nature of how things are right now, a lot of them are Buddhist trained through iMS or Spirit Rock. They've been in their teacher trainings. We have a few folks who are Zen trained or one Tibetan Lama who teaches with us. But they all teach in a secular way on our retreats. So those are those teachers, or people with significant personal practice and training. And then those are 3 teachers, and then we'll have the total adults is 15 to 18 total adults. So the rest of the adults are volunteers who all have their own personal meditation and mindfulness practice, but then also some experience with youth. So they might be counselors or therapists or teachers themselves. And we're extremely fortunate that we have way more people that want to come volunteer with us than we have space. So it's a pretty impressive group of people and their skill sets.
And then how big is a typical group that's on retreat?
Yeah. 30 to 50 is the average size of the teens. And so then we'll have 15 to 18 adults. So it's a very high teen to adult ratio. And then the retreats grow very organically. So sometimes a first retreat will be 20 teens. So I imagine if we started in Minneapolis, it'd probably be more like 20 and 25. And then it just kind of grows organically over time. But our biggest retreats are around 50.
Okay. And then what if you have a teen that doesn't have a meditation practice and they're just kind of coming in cold?
Yeah, that's extremely common. Most of the teens that come don't have a meditation practice, except for there is a high return rate. So the kids that will have a practice are the ones that are coming back from past years. So we teach the retreat to beginners, in a very kind of simple, basic way, assuming that this might be the first time that anyone's meditated. That's the kind of way that the instruction unfolds over the course of the retreat. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
My only thing is just to add, Meg, I'm the parent of 2 teen retreatants who've gone through the iBme retreat experience multiple times. It has really been a transformational experience in our family. This organization is so committed to the teens and to this incredible process that they take them on. I can't say enough wonderful things about the program or the people that run it or the benefits that come out of it.
If you have any other questions at any point, please feel free to be in touch. We're very responsive.
Really glad to make this connection, you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you all for showing up. Yeah, please feel free to be in touch.